I'm starting to set up right now for doing the chicken butchering. So here we got the butcheries, and here's the drum picker, and I still need to set it up, hook it up to water and everything like that. The main thing is, because this scalder, or this setup that I use to scald, takes so long to heat up, it's important to get the water in there. And in previous butchers that we've done, we didn't have a hot water heater for the house, so it was just straight hose water, which is like 60 degrees or so here, and it would take almost 2 hours to warm up. So I don't know how long, now that I've got the tankless water heater set up and I put hot water in here, I don't know how long it's going to take for it to actually come up to temp, but we'll see about that. And the butchering station is going to be a little bit different too. Usually I have my butcher table over there, I've got the picker here, I've got the scalder over there because it was on the cement pad. Excuse me. Have the scalder over there because it was on the cement pad, and still had the killing cones over here from my original butcher that I did, and that's just going to be a permanent installation because I'm going to butcher so often. But I tried to move everything closer to the killing cones here, so I've set this up on a pallet with a piece of the old house, so that's just like stucco, just to try to level it out a little bit. And I'll do the evisceration on that table there and try to get as much spray towards the garden as I can, capture that moisture and everything. And I think I'm going to put the picker, the drum picker, over here, and we've got water in the ground right here, so I'll probably either take this hose and run one to a sprayer, one to the picker, and then I've got another hose here that's right now going to a hog waterer, but since I don't have any hogs in that pen right now, I'm just going to pull it out and clean it and everything like that. So we'll have everything just here right close, and then that'll actually put the evisceration station under some shade. We've got 24 to do. Most of them I'll bag up whole in heat shrink bags. A few of them I'll debone the breast and keep the leg quarters separate. And some of that is to actually keep the freezer space down a little bit, because whole birds take up more space. But they're going to be in the refrigerator resting for at least 2 to 3 days first before they go into the freezer anyway. So I've got a little bit of time to move things around and try to use up some extra space. But we just put a hog in the freezer, one of the American guinea hogs, so it was about 100 pounds of meat, and that took up a good portion because I still had part of the previous hog, plus all of our frozen vegetables and whatnot that we keep in there. So I'm going to continue doing my chores, getting all the rest of the animals fed. Usually I let the chickens out, but today I'm going to feed them in their respective enclosures until we're done with all the butchering, and then I'll let them out. And just so you know, I actually let my hogs eat most of the offal and all that other stuff. I know that's somewhat of a controversial thing, but it's free food. They love it. They're omnivores, so I don't cook it for them or anything. And same with like the feet and any of the bones and whatnot. They'll just go to town. So they love butcher day, and at the end of the day, all I should have is a bunch of feathers on the ground. The plan is we will kill, scald, pluck, and eviscerate outside, put those into a cooler, and then for the drying rack we'll have to play it, because obviously I can't put all 24 birds in the cooler. Have to play it by ear. It may be once I get 4 birds in the cooler and they're cooled down, then I can put them on the drying rack. But the biggest thing is you got to get that body temperature of the chicken down. You need to get all the meat down to a refrigerated temperature, even if it's just for a little bit. And then I may dry them outside while I'm eviscerating more. And then that way I can actually spray them off a little bit, put the bags on, and kind of let them just drip dry for a little bit. And then bring them into the house somewhere, maybe into the refrigerator. So there's a lot of different moving parts, and again, some of these things are all new, so we'll just have to kind of roll with whatever we get. The biggest thing is if that drum plucker is working properly, then the process should go pretty quickly. If it's not though, which I've had problems with it in the past, early on, just being underpowered, but I got a bigger motor on there, and it seems to be working fairly regularly, but we'll see. Hopefully this is the most birds we've done at one time. Usually it's a smaller batch, a dozen or so. I think 14 is the most I've ever butchered, but I actually butchered those myself, completely by myself. So today my wife will be helping me, hopefully, and she'll be back and forth with helping take care of our son. So I will be completely doing the butchering, and then I may have assistance between here and there. So stay tuned, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. the chickens are butchered, and I've got most of them here in these shrink bags, and I'm still waiting for the temperature to go up. There were 6 of the chickens that usually, you know, 1 or 2, like the temperature on the scald isn't quite right, and so the skin gets a little too torn. And so what I do is I just quarter those up. I cut the breasts out, do boneless breast, and cut the legs and thighs off, and use that for, you know, portion meals that call for those. And then the rest of them I do whole birds, generally speaking. And this shrink bag, most shrink bags actually call for you to close this up, and then you put a small slit in the chest area, which would be right there, and allow the air to escape, and then you're supposed to put like a freezer sticker over it. I've had bad luck with that. I would say at least a quarter, if not a third of the time, the bag actually rips wide open, even if it's just a small slit. Just the weight of it pulling it out of the water again causes it to tear open. So what I've actually started doing, and I've seen this before, this isn't my method, but you put a straw in the end that you're going to zip tie, and then you just zip tie around it as best you can, and then put with the straw, dip the whole thing in, and make sure that you don't have the straw too deep so that as much air can escape out the back as possible. And then it'll shrink all around everything except the back. And then once you've got it shrunk up, then you would just pull the straw out and close the zip tie the rest of the way. So that's what I've had work for me. These are actually bigger bags. These are 12 by 16 shrink bags, as opposed to like an 8 by whatever, or 9 by 12 or whatever they do for poultry or chickens usually, which I do have some of those. But what was ending up happening is these birds would get too wide for that particular bag, so I wanted to get a bigger bag, and then that way basically it didn't matter how big of a chicken I had, up to like, I think you could put like 16 pounds. You could put small turkeys in this size, so we should be plenty fine. And then what I'll do is I'll weigh these out, and I'll mark the weight on the outside of the package. That way, for cooking instructions, or if I were to sell this to somebody or whatever, then I would know what the weight is, to be able to either charge or cook accordingly. So sounds like the temperatures are coming up. I'm gonna check the temperature on this, and I'll just go back to like a time lapse for the rest of this stuff, getting these all bagged up. Okay, so all of these are bagged up, ready to go. I've got the weights marked on the outside. So my smallest one here is 3.55. My largest one back here is 4.9 pounds. My goal was 3.5 to 4 pounds, and pretty much I hit it right on. There's a few that got bigger, which is fine. 5 pounds is like the biggest that I wanted to go. And part of that is because if I do sell these, I think 5 pounds is probably the biggest that anybody's even going to buy anyway. But I'll use them, so that's not that big of a deal. And like I said, I've got 6 more that I'm actually going to let them rest for a couple days in the fridge before I actually break them down and vacuum seal or whatever it is, however it is that I store those. So hope this was actually helpful for you guys. Again, these were female Cornish Cross raised up. They didn't quite make it to 8 weeks. Tomorrow would be 8 weeks from their hatch date. No, today's Saturday. So in 2 days would be 8 weeks from their hatch date. So they're 7 weeks, 5 days from hatch. And I want to say, I think it was somewhere between 250 and 300 pounds of feed for these 24 birds. And if you're watching any of my other videos, you know that I've got two other, in addition to these meat birds, I had 22 egg-laying birds, I think, in one little group, and then I had 8 other hybrid experimental crosses with Cornish hens, and they were getting fed at the same time from the same bucket. So I think I ended up having to buy 350 pounds, maybe 400 pounds. I'd have to go back and check my records. But anyway, for these guys, based on the difference of who was getting more feed, I'm estimating these were 250 to 300 pounds, probably closer to 300 pounds of feed to get these 24 birds up to somewhere around an average weight of 4 pounds dressed. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification for future videos as they come out. Like I said, I've got all kinds of stuff. Tomorrow I'll be actually tiling in this backsplash area, and eventually I'll install the range once that's all mortared and got the grout up and got the silicone sealed and everything like that. So stay tuned for all the other farm videos that we have. We've got pig videos, we've got more chicken videos, we've got do-it-yourself videos, and like I said, remodel videos and stuff like that. So until next time, thanks for joining us. Have a great day. God bless.